What's up guys, NinjaNick333. We're back with another round of the League Challenge at Flipside Gaming in Clifton Park, New York. We've got my friend Morgan on the left with Gardevoir EX and my friend Savi on the right, who is playing Lugia Vstar with the single strike package. I do believe he's also got that single strike Urshifu in there as well to counter those Duraludons, those pesky evil Duraludons. So Morgan is showing us his hand here. It's both really good and really bad at the same time. He's got multiple Ralts. He is starting Ralts, and he has 2 Ralts in hand, and at least 1 Gardevoir, and I think a Penny is his only supporter. So not like super great, but at least he's able to get set up. Morgan is going to go for, or Savi is going to have a second mulligan, and they are going to comment on the fact that they both have the same sleeves and how Morgan is like annoyed by the fact that there's a texture on the back for no reason. My friends are quirky, guys, I know. I apologize for the camera angle on this one again as well. Just like the first round, it was not set up properly, and that's my bad. I had to go to the bathroom, and then I barely got back in time to get to my own table. So as soon as I found out, I told Morgan and Savi to move over to this table, and I did not tell them to make sure that the playmats match to the foot of the tripod, which is sitting on the table. So it is a little off center. The only things you can't see are Morgan's prize cards and Savi's deck and discard pile. You can see everything else. So I will attempt to keep track of Morgan's prize count for you. So we are going to get the start of a level ball here. The couple of extra cards that Morgan was able to draw are pretty key here from Savi's mulligans. We do get a level ball for a Mew. We can now retreat our Ralt into the Mew to use Mysterious Tail to hopefully get maybe another level ball or a rare candy or something along those lines to make our hand just that much better. We do also have another energy in hand, so if we can get our way to maybe a Radiant Greninja, that would be pretty swell here. Discard and draw 2 this early. Looks like there is a rare candy in there, so I would say take that. Yeah, it says any item card on it. He was just clarifying to make sure he can't like take a research or something, because that would not be too bad here. So he does take rare candy. This is a Diamond and Pearl art, so it says it's just a trainer card, but it is an item. Has been reprinted and errated and all that good stuff. I like my Heart Gold Soul Silver ones the best, but unfortunately my cat managed to somehow dip one of my Heart Gold Soul Silver rare candies into mashed potatoes, and now the top left corner of it is very off color and a little warped, and it makes me sad, and now I need to buy another one. So Savi's gonna go here, get the Capturing Aroma Tails. Gonna get him another basic Pokemon. Looks like his hand is just some energies and a Stonjourner. So yeah, we're gonna go in with a second Lugia V. What Savi needs is 2 Archeops in the discard pile here. He does have an Archeops in hand, so all he needs to do right now is attach an energy. So he's gonna do Gift Energy, and then he's going to read the wind to discard the Archeops. Now he has 1 Archeops in hand. Actually draws Ultra Ball Archeops off of his draw 3 from the read the wind. So now he'll be able to get a second Archeops into the discard pile next turn, while also getting his Lugia Vstar online as well. So that's pretty good. Morgan gets a 4th Ralt set up here. We are going to, I believe, fail the Mysterious Tails, what we just did. So Morgan is pretty set. He's got that rare candy along with the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. He can actually draw 2 now. His first draw 2 not being from a Radiant Greninja or a Kirlia will actually be from a Shining Arcana Gardevoir, which is pretty funny here. So here is rare candy, Shining Arcana. Oh, he does actually evolve the one that he just played, I think, which I don't think that's going to end up mattering because he'll still have one. But I'd like to go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure that Ralts came into play this turn. Unless he moved his Pokemon around. So he is going to now Ultra Ball. So the 2 he got for the Shining Arcana, he managed to get that Battle VIP Pass and the Ultra Ball, I believe. So he's going to discard that Ultra Ball, or the Battle VIP Pass with the Ultra Ball. He's going to grab a Kirlia. Now he can Refinement for more cards. Or no, he grabbed it off the Worker. Got Ultra Ball off the Worker. Worker, pretty great supporter, allows you to draw 3 cards, much like Sharon and Tierno, and the newly released Nemona as well. I'm not sure why they chose to print a champion as a draw 3. Usually they just do that for your rivals, although your rival is the champion, so I guess that's why. But I don't know. She deserves a much better card than that. Hopefully they print, like, Nemona's Trial or something as a supporter card, and it just says, like, discard your hand, draw 10 or something like that. That'd be pretty good. Or shuffle draw, or shuffle draw 9. That's what it should be. It's a pretty good number. So we do see the Roar of the Sword. So Morgan did manage to bench the Zacian V, and then he used the Shining Arcana and actually got 2 Psychic Energies off of that, attached them to the Zacian V, attached Return to the Zacian V, and then used Roar of the Sword to put one on the Mew so that he has a way to retreat now. So Savi is playing Collapse Stadium. It does force Morgan to discard one of his Ralts here. So he does. And yeah, evolving the wrong Ralts didn't matter, because we still had 2 at the end of the turn that were unevolved. One of them being the same exact attacker one. So we do get our Lugia Vstar off our Ultra Ball. We get our double Archeops. We're going to use our first Primal Turbo to put V-Guard and Regenerative onto the Lugia Vstar in the active. We're going to use our second one here. I believe Savi does have 1 energy card in hand. 1 colorless energy card in hand. So he can actually use the second Primal Turbo to start charging up his second Lugia V now, if he wants to. Otherwise, he can just fail to find and leave his options for attackers open and leave more energy in the deck for later in the game should he need that. But he is looking to attack with the second Lugia V in this game, so we're going to start charging that up. Going to do a double turbo and a gift energy, so we are yet again 1 energy card away from attacking with that. Going to attach a V-Guard energy from hand. It looks like there is another V-Guard energy in hand after that as well, because I would have preferred the second Lugia V to get gift energy V-Guard. But since that last one was in hand, Savi probably does only play 3 V-Guard energies. Any more than that is pretty abnormal. And we did get the boss on the Zacian to take the knockout. So exact 220 since we don't have any double turbos on our active. And that's a pretty big swing there. So Morgan should have probably held off on that Zacian. Even though the Shining Arcana did find him 2 energy cards, which was pretty lucky there, I think benching that Zacian was a pretty big misplay there. Because you could always put that into play at any point and use your Psychic Embrace to charge it up. You don't have to get it pre-set up like that, because it'll just sit there for a couple turns not doing anything, just being a bench target, when you could leave only 1 prizers in play and make it so your opponent has to take odd prize cards before your 2 prizers start attacking here. So we get double Kirlia into play now, so all of our Pokemon on the bench do allow us to draw 3. So we've used the first Refinement. We are going to bench Mimikyu EX. Now, Mimikyu EX, he found off that Fog Crystal. That is really good in this matchup. Usually you play that because you're afraid of a Alolan Vulpix V-Star. Mimikyu is almost as good of an attacker as Zacian, and does not have an ability, so you can actually attack through the Vulpix V-Star's attack effect and not worry about it. But Mimikyu EX is also much better in the Lugia matchup because you can one-shot a Lugia Vstar for less energy because they have 4 energies on it. Mimikyu does 30 damage times the amount of energy on both actives. So you need 6 energy on the Mimikyu instead of the, I want to say it's like 8 or something you would need on the Zacian. So a Zacian would need, let's see, no, 9? Let's see. 8 would be 240. Yeah, you would need 8 on the Zacian, but you only need 6 on the Mimikyu. So you can get to it earlier without having to get extra energies in the discard pile. So yeah, between the 10 energies that are in play on both of those Pokemon, that is 300 damage, so that is going to one-shot the Lugia. The only other downside of playing the Mimikyu EX is that since it's not a V Pokemon, you cannot use Sky Seal Stone in conjunction with it to take 3 prize cards off of a Lugia. So there are pros and cons. You really only want to play Mimikyu over one of the 2 Zacians if you know there's going to be Alolan Vulpix in your field and you're afraid of it. I think that you can actually play through Alolan Vulpix without the Mimikyu, but the Mimikyu is just such a more versatile attacker in certain situations that I think it's still good enough to play it. So Savi's got a hand of energy. Big surprise. That is one of the downsides of the gift energy. He was able to draw until he had 7 cards in his hand, but now he has, or no, it's only 1 energy in there. I thought there, or 2 energies. I thought there was more. So he did manage to draw into a double turbo energy, which he would have rather kept in his deck. But he's still in a pretty good position here. He could always retreat his Lugia into an Archeops and take the knockout with that. Or he could just take the knockout with pretty much any single strike attacker. It would be pretty good to maybe attack with, I think, Stone Journer or a basic Evital right now. I think he had the Stone Journer in hand earlier, I want to say. And he definitely does not want to go single strike Urshifu this game because it's a big no-no. So he is going to go for the, it looks like the Tyranitar. He might be going for a Cragalanche knockout this turn, maybe. Oh, no, he's got the boss's orders again. So he is going to be able to bring up Gardevoir EX. And I think he's going to take a one-shot using the Tyranitar here. So he's going to use double Primal Turbo. He's going to put 4 single strike energies on this one Tyranitar. Unfortunately, after the buff of all 4 single strike energies and the weakness of Gardevoir, you're still only doing 280 with the first attack. So you do have to use the second attack instead. The first attack mills 2 from your opponent. The second attack mills 4 from yourself. So it's a pretty big downside. But you do hit for weakness. So you are doing, let's see, you start at 240 plus 80 and then times 2 for weakness. You guys do the math. It's big number is big. I still think it would have been fine to just go in with a Stone Journer and knock out the active. I don't think that that would have been a bad play at all. I think it would have been a lot more conservative as well, because you could have just put 2 single strike energies onto the Stone Journer. Unless I'm wrong and I'm like misread his hand and he doesn't have it and he doesn't play it. But Stone Journer would have been great there because you would have hit exactly 70. Or no, you would have hit more than that because you do 30 plus 30 if there's a stadium in play. So you're doing 60. And then 2 single strike energies, 60, 80, 100. Yeah, so you would have done still more than enough. You only needed to do 70 because of the 120 damage that's already on the Mimikyu. Yeah, it must not have been a Stone Journer I saw in his hand earlier. It must have been that single strike Urshifu. So maybe he's just not playing it. But if he was playing any one of his single prize, single strike attackers, he definitely should have gone for that this turn and just attacked the Mimikyu. Held the boss for maybe the next turn. Also, if he went with the single strike Evital, if he was playing that in his deck, he would have been able to one-shot the Gardevoir with that too, instead of the Tyranitar. And the Tyranitar did also mill him a DC, double turbo as well, so that could matter. Because the Lugia and the Archeops can only use the colorless energies that are in the deck. All these single strike energies say they can only be attached to single strike Pokemon. And if they are attached to a Pokemon that's not single strike, they do discard themselves. And that is a game mechanic, not an effect of the card. So Temple of Sinnoh does not shut that off. Looks like Morgan is going to use the Miriam here. He's going to shuffle some Pokemon back into his deck. He's going to choose that Zacian because he does need that. Maybe he can get a Sky Seal Stone play off later, should he need to. But as long as Savi is only going to feed him 2 prizers, he doesn't need the Sky Seal Stone at all. So Miriam, they are just both rereading Miriam to make sure they're doing it correct because it is a new card. So you can shuffle up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck, then draw 3. There was a league challenge that I was at, the first league challenge after EUIC. Played a Gardevoir Mirror, and one of my opponents, he played Miriam to shuffle a Ralts back into his deck and then said, I'm going to play Level Ball. And I'm like, no, you get to draw 3 first, then you can play your Level Ball. Like, he mirrored him back into the deck, and then he was like not shuffling because he was going to play the Level Ball, which is something that you would normally do if it was like Brock's Grid or something. But I'm like, no, you have to shuffle, I have to cut, and then you get to draw 3, and then maybe you won't need to Level Ball for the Ralts. You'll just draw into it. And he's like, oh, it's pretty sweet. So we do Ultra Ball to get that Gardevoir back out. Maybe Morgan prized one, so he wasn't able to get that off. So Morgan is at 4 remaining prize cards. And Savi is now only at 2 because Morgan did feed him that Zacian super early for not really any good reason. Was just trying to set it up earlier without putting damage on it. Maybe to try to avoid getting one-shot by a Lugia, if there's like one with a double turbo on it or something. But just got one-shot by a Lugia in a boss's orders anyway. So Morgan is deciding what he wants to do here. The problem is Morgan really wants to attack with this Gardevoir Shining Arcana one this turn with Brainwave. Does the same attack as Zacian, basically 60 plus 30 for every energy on the Pokemon, every psychic energy. But since all of those energies are still locked to the Mimikyu, that means that if he wants to take a knockout this turn, he actually has to go in with the Mimikyu. So it makes this really awkward. There are not enough copies of Psychic Energy in the deck for him to power up Gardevoir enough to be able to take the one-shot on the Tyranitar. But Morgan does play Temple of Sinnoh, which will shut off all of the single strike energies and the double turbo energy as well. And is going to be able to take the knockout. Now, the Temple of Sinnoh is really important here because Savi did mill that one double turbo. He's only got so many energies left to him here. Especially since he's down all 4 single strike energies as well. So if Savi wants to take a knockout, he needs to replace the stadium. So he's looking through his deck now here with the Primal Turbo. It looks like he does not have any energies left in deck. So the only energy he has remaining to him is the V-Guard energy that he has in his hand. He has an Urn of Vitality also, so he could earn 2 of the single strike energies back in. He has another Tyranitar there, so he can bench Tyranitar, earn the 2 single strike energies back into the deck, charge him on up again with the Archeops, and that thins his hand out. But either way, he's going to need a stadium to allow either the Archeops or that the Tyranitar to be able to take the knockout here, to be able to attack at all. Because again, he can retreat the Archeops here without replacing the stadium, but his only other attacker potentially right now besides the Archeops is Tyranitar number 2. And Savi does have triple research in his hand, along with that V-Guard. So I say you earn the 2 single strike energies back into the deck, use the second Archeops to put them onto the Tyranitar, attach the V-Guard to the Tyranitar, and then research. If you miss the stadium with the research, you still have a 1 prizer up, and Morgan can just knock that out instead. And if you do hit the stadium, you can just retreat and attack with Tyranitar. Or you could play it a little riskier and just attach to the active, research, and then you have to hit the stadium this turn. And of course, if you whiff, Morgan could also use boss's orders, bring up the Tyranitar, and knock it out. So that's the game state right now, is if Savi misses the stadium and Morgan has boss's orders, Morgan wins. If Savi hits the stadium, he wins. So it's looking a lot more likely that Savi can win this game, because of course he is at 2 prize cards remaining, as opposed to Morgan being at 4. Morgan would have to chain boss's orders 2 turns in a row, basically, in order to guarantee he could win the game. So it's asking a lot for Morgan here, but it is possible. Guardy can draw a lot of cards. His deck is fairly thin at this point. Even if he's playing only 1 boss and a pal pad, he can play boss, pal pad it back in, and then boss again. Here I come. I've finished my match at this point, so I'm just fixing the camera a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm not able to fix it completely. But it doesn't even give you any more field of view by moving it up this much, so I don't know what I was doing. I didn't want to cut off Morgan's discard pile, but whatever. I still can't see Morgan's prize cards or Savi's deck in discard. So yeah, so Savi is attaching the V-Guard energy to his bench, which is the safer play. So now all he has to do is research. Savi does play a little bit slow, I do have to say, because all this time I've been talking, he could have just been doing what I already said. It wasn't that complicated of a play to see. I mean, it was a little bit complicated. You could have attached the V-Guard energy to the active and then missed the stadium, and then you lose the game. So, and looks like he does get the stadium, so he does retreat into the Tyranitar, uses Cragalanche for the knockout, and wins the game. So props to Savi for winning that. And that is it for round 3 of this League Challenge / Win-A-Box tournament. And we will see you guys in the next round for round 4. As always, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe and all that good stuff. We will see you then.